Hello everyone, I welcome you all in this video lecture. In this video lecture, we'll study about uninterruptible power system. Now we have static uninterruptible power system. In case of low frequency or power frequency disturbances, if there is a total loss of power supply from the utility or some of the values falls below the predetermined value, then we can use our static uninterruptible power system. We use a static UPS to maintain power to the critical loads during total loss of the normal power, or as I said, during certain values which falls below predetermined values. In case of static uninterruptible power system, we have no rotating parts but major components, that is a rectifier. Rectifier we use to convert AC power into DC power and to charge our batteries. Then we have inverter. Inverter we use to convert available DC power in the battery to the AC power to feed the loads. And then we have battery. Battery we use to store the DC power, and we can use that stored DC power through the inverter to use when we have loss of normal power. We have basically two classification in case of static uninterruptible power system, that is offline and online. Now first we see offline UPS and then we'll see online UPS, and we'll compare advantage and disadvantage of both. So in case of offline UPS, as per diagram we can see that we have battery, we have rectifier and we have inverter. We have three different major components, and we have normal AC power. So in case of availability of normal AC power through the rectifier, our battery remain charged. In case of loss of normal power, the load is switched to the battery through the inverter. So battery now will supply to the inverter, and inverter will convert DC power into AC power to shoot with our critical load. We have static switch. Normally static switch number 1 remain on in case of offline UPS, and normal power is feeding to the load. In case of loss of normal power, we have static switch 2, and we will supply AC power through the inverter to the load. We have voltage and current sensing. So in case of either total loss of normal power, or in case of we have voltage falls below certain predetermined values, then we can have a switchover. So as we discussed, in the static UPS system, we do not have any rotating part, and that is why the switchover must be possible within half of a cycle, and then we'll be having a continuous supply to the critical load. Same way we have online UPS. Now in case of online UPS, the supply is always through the inverter. So we have preferred source, and through the source we are continuously charging the rectifier through the rectifier to the battery. Rectifier as well as inverter both are connected to the DC bus, and inverter is taking power continuously from the DC bus, and it is converting into AC power suitable to the load, and then it is feeding supply to the load. So it is always through the DC bus, and we have certain advantage also. In case of we require to change to alternate source, in case of loss of power, we have battery bank connected. So as long as battery is not depleted, we have a continuity of the power, else we have to shift to the alternate source of power. We have static bypass switch as well as manual bypass switch. Static bypass switch we use for our preferred source if we want to connect offline, and manual bypass we use to shift our preferred AC supply source to alternate source. So in case of online UPS system, the main advantage is during loss of normal power, there is no actual any switching happen, and then continuity of the power to the critical load remain as it is. Now let us see certain advantage of online UPS. Power is normally supplied from the DC bus. The UPS unit in effect isolates the load from the source, which keeps power system disturbances and transients from interacting with the load. So this is one of the main advantage, because our normal power source and load is isolated. Our inverter is always connected to the DC bus, and we give supply through the DC bus and inverter to the load. So normal transients or any power frequency disturbances is not affecting the load. Power to the loads is not switched during loss of normal power. No switching transients are produced. In case of offline UPS, we have switching from AC power source to DC power source within half of a cycle, but again switching transients produce, and that can affect load. In case of offline, we have waveform distortion because it is through the inverter. So we have waveform distortion like this. So we have almost a square wave, and during starting of the cycle, a ringing effect we can observe. So for this type of load where it is suitable, we can supply uninterruptible power through the static offline UPS. In case of online static UPS, again we have waveform distortion, but it is much better compared to offline static UPS. In this we have also distortion, but it is at the low order, and critical loads can be supplied with this static online UPS. Similar way, we have rotary uninterruptible source, and that is a RUPS. Now we can see that we have AC motor connected to normal power system, and we have AC generator. So AC motor will act as a prime mover to the AC generator. So as long as normal power available, this AC motor will rotate and it will act as a prime mover for the AC generator, and AC generator will generate the power, AC power. Now to make this AC power uninterrupted power system, what we do is we use additional diesel engine as an alternate source of prime mover. Now in case of loss of normal power, we use a diesel engine as a prime mover. It is connected to the same shaft, and it will start rotating, and it will work as a prime mover to the AC generator, and we will have an uninterrupted power output through the AC generator. Now shaft is connected to the flywheel, and because of inertia, it have sufficient energy stored. Diesel engine reached to its maximum speed. We have sufficient energy stored in the flywheel that it will keep as a prime moving to the AC generator, and we have uninterrupted power system. We have another different form of our rotary UPS. So instead of using diesel engine, sometimes we use a battery, we use a rectifier to charge the battery, and we use inverter to convert DC power from the battery to the AC power, and through the AC power we feed to the AC motor in case of normal power is lost. And we have through the AC generator, we have uninterrupted power system available. So as long as battery have a stored power, we can convert that DC power into AC power, and we can rotate our AC generator to maintain the source of AC power uninterrupted. So this way we can have some uninterruptible power system. Thank you for watching my video. Keep watching. Thank you very much.